Okay. So in the last one, we did some notices and wonders. Now let's take a look and discuss some things that we're learning about, which is solutes, solvents, and solubility. So you might be like, Mrs. MG, what is solubility? Well, solubility is the ability for something to be able to dissolve into a solution or an item. So let's take a look at different items to see, is it soluble? It's kind of like that sink or float you may have done as a kid in the bathtub, except this time we're in the kitchen and we're using some common items. So here's a smashed penny. Dissolve or not dissolve? Oh, it's on the bottom. Can't really see it very well, but see if I can't like move it up against the side. Yep, didn't dissolve. No amount of stirring is going to cause this item to dissolve. So we would say that this is a insoluble item. It will not dissolve in water. Okay. Important to know in science, not all things dissolve. Let's try another. Okay. Here's my water. So let's try some salt. Hey, is salt going to be able to dissolve in water? What about honey? I've never tried honey before. Will honey dissolve in water? Well, let's check it out. So right here I have some pink Himalayan salt. We're just going to scoop some into my cup and we'll see what happens. Here we go. Goes in. I can see it here on the bottom. If I stir it, I see it looks like it is dissolving. Something that I can tell is that it's not really on the bottom anymore. If I didn't know better, I wouldn't know that it's there, but if I taste it, it's definitely salty. So we would say that salt would be soluble. It has the ability to be dissolved in water. What about honey? I have some hot honey that we put on pizza sometimes at our house. So good. And we'll just put a little bit of honey. You think honey's gonna dissolve? May prediction, dissolve, not dissolve. Oh man, I'm stirring my honey and I am seeing the honey in cold water is dissolving. It's taken a little bit and I'm having to stir a whole lot to get it to dissolve. But this is another example of something that is soluble. It will dissolve and be absorbed by that water and into the water. All right. What about butter? I mean, that's something common here in most people's houses. I wonder if butter's a soluble item. All right. So part of cooking club is we always put stuff away. So let me get those items put away really quick. All right. Butter makes everything better. All right. So I got my butter. Just gonna slice a little bit off. All right. Let's see. Is it soluble, insoluble? Make a prediction. Do you think my butter is going to dissolve into the water? Okay, let's find out. Mm. Okay, definitely not soluble. So this is insoluble. My butter, not going to dissolve. Okay, it's kind of just floating around in there. Okay, so it's an example of something that is insoluble. We saw on the previous video with our notice and wonders that we had the Ritz cracker that I put in there, soluble or insoluble. Well, we saw that it is insoluble. It broke apart in the water when I stirred it, but it just kind of floated there with chunkies. It didn't actually dissolve in the water. That's the difference between soluble and insoluble. Soluble items will dissolve into water. The water will break them down and absorb them into the water. Insoluble items cannot be broken down by water. They're just going to hang out. Eventually, they'll break into like particles and stuff, but that's it. They don't actually dissolve.